the most racist mayor in America, the mayor of the most radical city in America, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, comes out with one of his most defiant, Joe Biden-esque racist lines that he's ever uttered in the media. He says, "I don't apologize for that." Lumumba stands behind comments saying water takeover could make the city no longer black. You mean it could possibly make the city have running water constantly? It could possibly lead to people's trash being picked up consistently? Every time I get ready to say the word consistently, I say constantly. I mean consistently. It could consistently lower crime. I mean, if we're going to use analogies for this one, let's roll with it. Because under their leadership, these are all things that have happened in just the last couple of years. It's been the deadliest city in America 2 out of the last 3, working on 3 out of the last 4 years. They went a whole month without the garbage being picked up in the city while these guys allegedly fought over who was going to get the biggest kickback from the chosen or unchosen garbage companies, allegedly. The water quit working completely multiple times. Factual. Because of mismanagement, not because of, or not strictly because of aged infrastructure. They improperly had the plant staffed with a third of what they needed. They didn't have people who were properly qualified. I can go on and on and on. You can Google all that about the city, about the water and everything. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it. Long story short, the mayor, in a private phone call a couple months back, or actually a year or so ago when all this went on, he made the comment that if there was going to be a takeover of the water, a takeover of the city's water system, that it was going to mean the city could be no longer black. What he means is, other than the fact he's just a blunt force racist, what he means is they're not going to be able to get their reparations that they've been getting off the top through all these janky contracts, minority contractors, and all the other nonsense he's had going on. There's a video of his re-election night where he won the Democrat primary because there was no legitimate Republican contestants. So it was in Jackson, the Democrat, you win the Democrat primary, you're the mayor, basically. There was a video of him crying and singing slave songs or something or another, wearing his Free the Land garb and all that. He was crying up there because he knew he had just hit the jackpot because they were going to be getting almost 200 million, $500 million, 600 million, whatever the number was from the federal government to fix the water in Jackson. What he didn't anticipate, what he did not anticipate was the fact that federal judge Henry Wingate, an African-American, was going to put a third-party person in charge of the water that wasn't going to screw it up like the Lumumba administration had. Keep in mind, Judge Wingate is a black guy. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that context before we dive into this. This from WLBT. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba stands behind comments he made in a private phone call that a water takeover could make the city, air quotes, no longer black. I'm proud that I live in a majority black city, and I don't apologize for that. Well, there's some questions if he even lives in the city full time, allegedly. He goes, and I don't apologize for that, he said. Now, does that mean that I have any ill intent or ill will or any designs against anybody else? Absolutely not. Well, I absolutely disagree. And the way he has mayored throughout his tenure the last 8 years tells me that that's all a damn lie. Continuing on. But we're like anybody else. There's some comfort in being able to be in a safe space that looks like you, that relates to you culturally. Lumumba was responding to a question about comments he made during a private phone call with the former water operations manager, Mary Carter. We're going to circle back to some of this. The comments were played during Carter's wrongful termination trial last month in U.S. District Court. The mayor was recorded saying, "We absolutely believe that there's a coordinated effort to take this water treatment facility, and that effort, it's bigger than a little politics we get into. If that happens, that is going to be the first step in trying to make the city no longer black." Lumumba said that similar efforts had already impacted the city of Detroit, which he said isn't as black as it used to be. And ironically, it's more successful than it has been in a half a century. You know, I hate that we had to make this about a black, because what they do is they try to set it up in that context. So if you criticize it, it means you're a racist. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? Well, I guess we're just going to play your game. And we'll just say that, well, clearly black leadership has a problem leading and running cities. Because when you remove that free the land crew from it, see, the crew that destroyed Detroit was cut from the same cloth. They're that Republican New Africa, free the land, free the people crowd. There's plenty of great, good black politicians out there that can keep their cities functioning just fine. The dumbass people of Jackson, Mississippi just can't seem to elect the good ones. They continuously find the worst of the worst that play this blackety black nonsense and lets everybody know I'm blacker than you. I'm gonna be black for you. I'm going to defend your blackness, no matter how bad of a job I do. But just know I'm gonna get rich. Y'all gonna stay poor and impoverished. But at least one of us is getting ours. That's the way they politic. I call it reparations politics. It's what they did in Detroit. There's a roadmap to exactly what's going on here in Jackson, Mississippi, and it's what went on in Detroit through the 90s, the 80s and 90s. Once the free the land crowd got into power, they rigged the system and all the contracts and all that to make money and bankrupt the city. That's exactly what they're doing in Jackson. I'm talking about the same mayor that allegedly, and I know I keep throwing that word out there, but you got to, the same mayor that's fixing to have felony federal indictments, along with multiple city council people and the Hinds County DA, allegedly, come down here in the next, any day now, they'll come down. If it's all as true as they say it is, which I have no reason to believe it's not. Corrupt. Let's go back up here. He said, we absolutely believe there's a coordinated effort to take this water treatment facility, and that effort, it's bigger than the little politics that we get into. If that happens, it's going to be the first step in trying to make the city no longer black. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned some of the accomplishments, or maybe in the edited video that didn't make it. Let's run through it again. Some of the accomplishments of this crew running the city right now that put black over everything, they've been the deadliest city in America 2 out of the last 3 years, soon to be 3 out of the last 4 at its current pace. They went an entire month without the garbage being picked up in the city while the city council and the mayor fought over what seems to be nothing else more than who was going to get a bigger kickback by selecting the company of their choosing. I mean, that's what it looks like. And I believe that you're going to see these federal indictments possibly have something to do with that. And then third, of course, back to the water, they lost full control of the water. It froze up and it got compromised in February of 21, and we went 2 weeks without water in Jackson. This is why I moved. Well, it was the icing on top of the cake. Then again, in the summer of 21, it was a complete failure of the water system. It was either summer of 21 or 22. It had to have been 22. I'm getting my days a little confused here. February of 21, and then the summer of 21. Yeah, it had to be 21. Anyway, it don't matter. 21 or 22. The water went out completely. Complete massive failure. And of course, they blamed it on everything and everybody except themselves. Oh, they've been kicking the can down the road for 30 plus years, not replacing the pipes. They always try to take it back to when Jackson had white mayors who were also Democrats, mind you. So see, that's what this really all goes down to is Democrats can't run cities. They just can't. I don't care if they're black, white, whatever. You just don't have many white Democrats running majority black cities anymore. They just elect their own at their own detriment, by the way, because there's just not many of them that seem to be able to do a good job. Let's see here. They got the video, I think, of this where you can listen to his comments. We will play them. All right. I'm gonna turn this up so y'all can hear it, but this is the mayor talking and where he actually makes the racist comments. Again, just play the game with yourself. What if somebody white said that about white people or about a white town? They're going to be the first step in trying to make this city no longer black. Well, how is that even possible? There's 300,000 people in Jackson, 250,000 people in Jackson. All but about 15,000 are black. Where are they going to go? Ain't nobody making Jackson less black. It's too stupid to be stupid. And what pisses me off more than anything is I know, because I grew up in Jackson for 43 years, I was typically the minority in my social circles. I know there's a bunch of good, God-fearing, smart black people in Jackson who either aren't voting or have been blinded by the blackness. It's like we live in this time where black people are putting black above everything. Black versus everybody at their own detriment. And it allows for fools like this to rise to power. And nobody benefits from it except them and their immediate circle of free the land thugs and what I hope are their co-defendants when the indictments come down. Please, Jackson, get your crap together and vote for somebody who can get this thing going back straight. It ain't going to take a rocket scientist. I listened to Kim Wade the other day. He spoke at a lunch that I hosted. He's running for mayor. He's one of my coworkers at the radio station, WYAB. Black conservative. Just black common sense dude. We don't need any extra money. We're just going to start doing things right the first 4 years. We're just going to quit screwing things up. And I say it all the time in Jackson. People ask me, Clay, what are you doing to save Jackson? All you do is sit back on your computer and mock and meme and laugh at everybody and give away your effed around and find out championships when little thugs kill one another or run from the police. Well, I do enjoy doing that, by the way. But you know what I've been doing for years to save Jackson? And if everybody in Jackson would just do these few things here, you too could save Jackson. Stop robbing, stealing, killing, drug dealing, and littering, and 90% of Jackson's problems would go away. 90%. You're still going to have some knuckleheads. Oh, yeah, and if you would start snitching on those knuckleheads, all these problems would go away. Everybody wants to wave some magic wand. Positive solutions only, Clay. What's your positive solution? Y'all going to have to start acting right. That's the positive solution. Y'all don't ever want to hear that. You tell people they're a racist for pointing out the obvious. You'll call me a racist for calling him a racist. When I first started doing these videos, nobody dared make fun of Chokwe. He was the protected golden child. I broke that. I started making memes of him the day I started the Save Jackson page. I'd seen enough. We're 8 years into this almost. Good 7. June 2025 will be the election for Mayor of Jackson. Please, anybody but Lumumba, tune into the Clay Edwards Show every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 103.9 FM, WYAB in Jackson, Mississippi. You can always check out the podcast. Just search Clay Edwards Show wherever you download podcast, stream, music, YouTube, and more. Please hit subscribe, like, share, wherever you're at right now.